Hello everybody, this is Dooster with Cryptids and Critters Paranormal. Just bear with me a few minutes here, please, if you don't mind. My throat's kind of raw, kind of scratchy. They're harvesting a lot of the soybean and corn crops in the area. All of the dust and pollen and chaff is in the air, and it is flat wearing my sinuses out. So this is the article I wrote several years ago for the Robertson County Times. It was later picked up by the Nashville, Tennessee newspaper and several other little historical publications. I call this the year without a summer. The date was April the 5th, 1815. The hustle and bustle of everyday life in Robertson County was going on as usual. The majority of the corn and wheat crops were already in the ground, and everyone seemed to be enjoying the beautiful springtime weather. It was definitely a welcome change from the especially harsh winter that they had just come through. But while they were enjoying the warmth and sunshine on this side of the earth, a cataclysmic event took place halfway around the world that would change their lives and their outlook on life forever. On a tiny island in Indonesia, the Mount Tambora volcano violently erupted and spewed fire, smoke, and volcanic ash miles into the atmosphere. The explosion was so powerful that it literally removed the top 4,000 feet off of the mountain, and the blast was heard over 800 miles away. Some reports state the ash column reached a column of 28 miles, and the fallout from the ash fell as far away as 800 miles. This would come to be known as the most powerful volcanic eruption in recorded history. And over 92,000 souls perished as a direct result. Thousands more would later perish as a result of starvation due to global cooling and the subsequent destruction of food crops. Excuse me a second. As the volcanic ash reached upward into the atmosphere, it began to block out some of the Earth's rays and dramatically changed the weather patterns all over the planet. The European continent was hit especially hard, as was the East Coast and the southern regions of the United States, including Tennessee. While the summer of 1815 was not drastically affected in the local level, the temperatures did drop slightly, and the winter of 1816 was much colder than usual. The spring of 1816 was unusually dry. With near drought conditions, the crops got off to an extremely slow start. Many of the crops that did manage to sprout from the parched soil withered in the field for lack of rain and had to be replanted. It was turning out to be a bad year for the crops, and just when they thought it couldn't get any worse, Mother Nature bore down with a vengeance. Heavy frost in May killed off most of the young crops that had just emerged, and the remaining crops that did survive the initial frost were buried under at least 2 heavy snowfalls in June. Many human deaths were attributed to the heavy snowstorms and sub-zero weather. As if that wasn't enough, residents of Tennessee and the southern United States woke up on the 4th of July to find the remainder of their crops covered with a heavy layer of frost. The crops that somehow managed to live through the previous frost and snowfalls now stood a snowball's chance in hell of surviving this latest assault. As if this wasn't enough, ice could be found on area lakes and rivers on through August, and as a result, many waterfowl perished. The entire corn crop for that year was lost, and as a result, corn prices soared to record highs, reaching an unheard of price of $10 a bushel. That's a lot of money back in those days. Many short-sighted farmers took advantage of the uncommonly high prices and sold their reserves on the market. This resulted in very little seed corn available for the 1817 crop. The ice and snowstorms of 1816 took a devastating toll on the wildlife population, especially the white-tailed deer. With the vegetable and grain crops destroyed by the ice and snow, any available food source suddenly became fair game, and venison became a staple that kept many people from starving. The deep snow, topped by a thick crust of ice, made it almost impossible for the deer to walk on. As a result, the deer were unable to escape and became easy targets for the hunter. Because of this, the deer population in the area was all but decimated. Venison, along with deerskin pants and coats, were a rare commodity for several years afterwards. It would take many years for the deer population to recover. The year of 1816 would come to be known as the year without a summer, or more commonly known as 1800 and froze to death. Never in recorded history had such an abomination of nature occurred, and local residents were frightened. Widespread panic set in as predictions of the end of the world rang out from pulpits all across the South. With the memories of the recent earthquakes still fresh in our minds, the latest predictions only added fuel to an already raging fire that kept the church pews as well as collection plates filled to capacity. And that was the year without a summer. It was a true event. Hope you enjoyed it. If you don't mind, like and share my channel, and I will be back on with some more short stories as I can get a few more of them rounded up. Again, this is Dooster with the Cryptids and Critters Paranormal. Thank you for the time. Hope you enjoyed it.